This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
And welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. Thank you for joining us. We are all aware of the storms that spawned the killer tornadoes in Northeast Arkansas earlier this month. 2 Arkansans lost their lives. Many people lost all of their belongings, and the repair work is still going on and will be for months, if not years. The American Red Cross is on the ground helping out with many other organizations in Northeast Arkansas. I caught up with Lori Arnold, Executive Director for the American Red Cross serving Greater Arkansas, to find out more of what she's been doing and what's to come. And you guys have been in Northeast Arkansas in the aftermath of the tornadoes up there earlier in December. I want you to tell me a little bit of what the American Red Cross is doing in that area based on what you have seen the needs are in that area.
Well, the American Red Cross has been in the Northeast Arkansas area basically since the day the tornadoes occurred. After the tornado threat left the Little Rock area, we started deploying people up to Northeast Arkansas because we knew things were going to start happening there. So we've been on the ground. We started out with sheltering. We are working with lots of our nonprofit partners to help with feeding. And one of the main things that we've been doing as the American Red Cross is damage assessment. So we've had volunteers going from neighborhood to neighborhood that's been affected, assessing the damage of each home so that we can find out what assistance exactly is needed for each person who's been affected.
What are you, where do your volunteers come from? This always intrigues me because I think people are always willing to help, but people have busy lives, yet you guys are able to amass an army of volunteers on short notice for big time disasters like this. Where do your volunteers come from?
Our volunteers are ordinary, everyday people like you and me. They're people who have a heart for helping others, and some of them are retired, some of them have jobs and are currently working, but all of them have joined the Red Cross because they want to be out there to help. They want to find a way to tangibly do something for their neighbors and their communities. So we've got volunteers who are already trained and already ready to go out when something like this happens. And some of them, we're calling them out of their beds in the middle of the night to go out for a house fire, perhaps, or something like this happens. They're ready to pack up their bags and leave for 2 weeks, spend time on the ground where the disaster has occurred. So we've got volunteers from every walk of faith, every age group. We just have an amazing group of volunteers, and we're always looking for more. We're always looking for ordinary people who just want to help.
Tell me a little bit about what you, some of what you have been doing for some of those that are affected in Northeast Arkansas, and particularly, what do you think are some needs that have not been met yet that you need some additional help with?
The needs that we're seeing across Northeast Arkansas right now are varied. We've got people who've had, some damage to their houses, and then people whose homes are completely destroyed. So not only were we helping with sheltering, feeding, all those immediate emergency supplies and needs, but we've been helping them with the things that maybe aren't so obvious to someone who this hasn't happened to. For instance, we have health care workers who are out there who are helping replace medication that's been lost, medical equipment that's been lost. We have volunteers who are licensed emotional support cares, and we've got spiritual care out on the ground too, because we know that when something like this happens, obviously the physical needs are important, but some of those emotional and spiritual needs are just as important to people. So we have people doing those kinds of things, and we've got volunteers who are trained caseworkers, and they're the ones who are helping everybody with their recovery. We've kind of moved out of the initial response phase, and now we're helping people with their next steps. Where are they going to live? How are they going to replace some of their important documents, that kind of thing.
How long do you guys stay involved up there? Is this multiple weeks? Is this multiple months? Does it? I don't have a good sense of how long you stay on the ground and stay involved with something like a tornado that has ripped through communities like it has.
Every disaster is different, so every disaster has a different timeline. For this particular tornado, we've been on the ground, like I said, since Friday night, really. We've had people deploying that night, and they've been on the ground through the next I guess it's been 2 weeks now. We will be on the ground as long as we're needed, but we're still involved even long after we have left the physical area. Like I said, we have caseworkers who are helping stick with those people. Each person that we help is assigned a caseworker that they can go back to and continue to get support from. We refer them to other resources and other organizations that can help them too. And so we're basically there as long as we're needed. In this particular situation, we know that it's the holiday season. People want to get home to their families, and yet these dedicated volunteers, they're still out on the ground right now, giving up time with their families so that they can help these people who really, really need help right now during the holiday season.
All right, so I'm making the plug for you so you don't have to make the plug, but what can somebody watching our interview right now do to help the Red Cross with your efforts there? Obviously, money is going to be helpful in terms of buying whatever supplies you need, but are there things that people can provide for you guys that you're in, maybe have a shortage of?
There's three main ways that people can help. So of course, like you just said, financial donations are the easiest and best way to help people get what they need. We're able to identify the needs on the ground and purchase the things that are needed while we're there. We're able to give financial assistance to people who've lost their homes completely. And that way they can assess what they need and they can use that money to purchase their individual household needs. But we also need people who are willing to volunteer, like I said. In a situation like this, we may not need someone to volunteer specifically for the current disaster, but we want people who are volunteers and trained so that the next time this happens, they're ready to get up out of their beds and go help. And then the third way to help, if you don't have, the time or perhaps the financial resources, we're always looking for people who can give blood. Giving blood right now is extremely important, as it is all year round. But right now, with this historically low blood shortage across the country, giving blood is another great way that you can help serve your fellow man and help save a life.
All right, Lori, tell us where we can go for more information online.
It's very easy, redcross.org. You can go there. You can find out information about how to give financially, how to become a volunteer. You can find out about health and safety courses, and you can learn where you can go to give blood.
Thank you all for being there, for those that have been so horribly impacted by those tornadoes in Northeast Arkansas, and for the other disasters that you guys do too. I really appreciate you guys being in existence and doing the work that you do. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the people that we serve, thank you for letting us talk to you today.